Every year, Wall Street has a ritual, but this year hits different. Because the Oracle of Omaha, the man who turned a dying textile company into a trillion-dollar empire, has written his last letter as CEO. Warren Buffett retired at 95. And before you think this is going to be a highlight reel of his greatest hits, it's not. Because the real story of Warren Buffett isn't just the billions, it's the mistakes, the missed calls, the bets that blew up. He missed tech for years. He bet on airlines repeatedly. He called himself dumb more than once, and he meant it. The legend is real. So are the lessons buried underneath it. Here are 5 of them, and they're going to hit harder than you expect. Everyone knows Warren Buffett is obsessed with compound interest. It's the 8th wonder of the world. Money, making money, making money. But here's what most people miss when they study Buffett. What he really spent 60 years compounding was character. He told his executives something that should be hung on the wall of every boardroom, every office, every startup garage. Lose money for the firm, and I will be understanding. Lose a shred of reputation for the firm, and I will be ruthless. Read that again. This is a man who made his fortune through numbers, and yet the one thing he protected with everything he had wasn't a stock position, it was his word. In a world where you can fake follower counts, fake valuations, fake a smile on a podcast, Buffett's whole philosophy was built on the boring, old-fashioned idea that trust is the real currency. Reputation takes 20 years to build, 20 seconds to destroy. And if you think that only applies to billion-dollar companies, think again. Every time you show up when you said you would, every time you tell the truth when a lie would have been easier, every time you choose integrity over convenience, you are compounding. Buffett held Coca-Cola stock for decades. He sat on mountains of cash when the rest of the market was sprinting toward dot-coms, then crypto, then meme stocks. He shrugged, he waited, he got mocked. Then he was right. But here's the part nobody puts in the YouTube thumbnail. Buffett wasn't just patient with markets, he was patient with life. He didn't get famous overnight. He didn't build Berkshire Hathaway in a bull run. He compounded quietly for 60 years without panicking when the world told him to. And in an era of 60-second attention spans, overnight influencers, and get-rich-quick algorithms, that is radical. The most dangerous thing you can do is confuse speed with progress. You don't build trust overnight. You don't develop real skill overnight. You don't become the person you're meant to be overnight. But you can do all of it slowly, boringly, beautifully, if you just refuse to panic sell your principles at the first sign of volatility. Time is your greatest asset. Most people spend it. Buffett invested it. We live in a world drowning in complexity. Hedge funds invent new acronyms. Finance influencers flip options on their phones. Algorithms trade in microseconds. And then there's Buffett, sitting in Omaha, eating McDonald's, reading annual reports. His rule? I only invest in businesses a 5th grader can explain. Coca-Cola, Apple, American Express, insurance companies. Not quantum computing. Not synthetic derivatives. Not whatever the algorithm said on Tuesday morning. Just understand the business. Buy it cheap. Hold it long. Don't overcomplicate what doesn't need to be complicated. Now, did he miss some rockets? Absolutely. He was late to Amazon. He was late to Google. He admitted it. But here's the trade-off nobody talks about. By keeping it simple, he also avoided the craters, the dot-com crash, the 2008 derivatives explosion, the crypto collapse. When you can explain why you own something in 2 sentences, you also know exactly when to leave. Complexity is often just a disguise for uncertainty. The clearest thinker in the room is rarely the loudest, but they're almost always the last one standing. Warren Buffett made mistakes, spectacular ones. He bought a dying textile mill and had to reinvent it from scratch. He invested in airlines multiple times and lost. He held on to some positions too long. He passed on others too early. And here is what separates him from almost every other person in his position. He put his mistakes in the letter, not buried in footnotes, not blamed on market conditions, not spun into a strategic pivot. He wrote them out, named them, explained what he was thinking and where he went wrong. Because Buffett wasn't in the business of perfection. He was in the business of learning. His philosophy was simple. You will screw up. You will misjudge people, markets, businesses, moments. That is not a flaw in the system. That is the system. The only real failure is doubling down on stupid. The only real trap is letting shame freeze you in place, so afraid of being wrong again that you stop making moves altogether. Buffett's letters were basically a masterclass in intellectual humility. And intellectual humility, it turns out, is one of the most powerful competitive advantages on earth. Because the person who can say, "I was wrong, here's what I learned," grows faster than everyone who's still protecting their ego. It's never too late to get better. He proved it for 6 decades. This is the one. And it might be the most unexpected lesson from a man who spent his life making money. In his final letter, Buffett wrote something that stopped a lot of people mid-scroll. He said, "When you help someone in any of thousands of ways, you help the world. Kindness is costless, but also priceless." And then he said something even more striking. "Keep in mind that a cleaning lady is as much of a human being as a chairman." From a man worth over $100 billion, from a man who could have spent his last letter talking about asset allocation and succession planning, he talked about kindness. Because somewhere in 60 years of building an empire, Warren Buffett figured out something that most people take a lifetime to learn. The real scoreboard isn't on Bloomberg. It's in the way people talk about you when you leave the room. It's in whether the person who served you coffee this morning felt seen. It's in whether the people around you felt better for knowing you. Money amplifies who you already are. That's it. If you're generous before the billions, you'll be generous after. If you're selfish before the billions, the zeros just give you more room to prove it. Your net worth will fluctuate. Your character is the only thing that truly compounds forever. Warren Buffett built a $1 trillion empire, but the letters he leaves behind aren't really about money. They're about patience in a world addicted to speed, simplicity in a world obsessed with complexity, honesty in a world that rewards spin, kindness in a world that calls it weakness. The Oracle of Omaha may be stepping back, but the lessons, well, those keep compounding. If this made you think differently about something, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and I'll see you in the next one.